Curt has served us in the House of Representatives in the state of Utah since 2005. That's 12 years, if my math is right. Curt is probably best known for his advocacy of gun rights, gun ownership, and the support and defense of the Second Amendment. Representative Curt Oda.
If I can just really quickly make one other comment about the medical cannabis. I was talking with Connor there. When it comes to the Second Amendment and the cannabis, I'm a firm supporter of your efforts, but the ATF now has a question on the 4473 form. If you go to purchase a firearm, question number 11E, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? If you answer yes, that could be actually, and you're attempting to buy the gun, yeah, that could be a felony. If you answer no, and they find out that you lied, that's also a felony, federal felony. So until we can get a lot of these things fixed federally, we've got issues. Again, I agree with you, Bliss. ATF shouldn't even exist.
Exactly. It's more than that. When they require us to permit and carry a gun,
I firmly agree. Right.
On the free exercise of the constitutionally.
Right. Absolutely.
Restraint is illegal. It's like requiring you to pay a debt tax before you can vote.
That's right. It's very, very clear in this document. Look how worn that is. But it's very clear in this document that it's an individual right. Okay, and in fact, our state constitution is even stronger in the language. It specifically says individual right. Article 1, Section 6 of the state constitution. If that's the case, if they're using illegal drugs and they're possessing it, that's an automatic felony if they get caught. So.
Well, I mean, just for myself and knowing people that are in ownership of firearms and using products, I mean, the rate is massive. What are we really talking here about? How likely is it that?
Well, I fully agree. I agree. But I'm just telling you what the law says, you know, the illegal laws, okay, in my opinion, okay? And I'm sure most of us in here feel the same way about it. Okay, now, getting to the constitutional carry thing, a little bit of background on myself. They call me the gun guy at the Capitol. I did not run for re-election this last cycle in November, so as of January 1st, I'm out. Okay, but I will still be involved with the Second Amendment issues, and I hope you'll help me stay on top of this. Because of my efforts over the last 12 years, we've got the #1 permit in the nation. I totally restructured the concealed permit program. We've got the #1 permit in the nation. 36 states recognizes Utah's permit, plus Utah, that's 37. We were the very first state ever to get an F rating from the Brady campaign. I was at a conference here a few years ago in Philadelphia and at the National Conference of State Legislators. I think you were there, weren't you, Bliss? Anyway, Brady had a booth there, two little ladies sitting there, and I went up and I said, "Thank you so much, ladies." They got this big smile on their face and said, "For what?" I said, "I'm from Utah. You just gave us the very first F in the nation. Thank you so much. That's an A+ to me." Their jaws hit the floor. Just, it was pretty funny. Okay, we've been ranked the #1 state on self-defense laws. We've been ranked by Guns and Ammo magazine #2 on concealed laws, but behind Arizona. But if you really look at the laws, we beat the hell out of them. The only difference is they've got constitutional carry, and we don't. They ranked us number 4 on overall gun laws behind Arizona, Alaska, and Vermont. Again, you compare all the laws line by line, we beat the hell out of all of them. Why? The only reason is constitutional carry. Now, what is constitutional carry? Can somebody answer that for me? No permit required to conceal it. Okay, in Utah, the base standard is open carry. If you're not restricted from being around a firearm, you're not a felon or somebody like that, without a permit, right now, you have to carry it openly. It has to show. Okay? It has to show. If you want to conceal it, then you have to apply for a permit. You have to go through a 4-hour course and all this kind of stuff. Okay? Then you can apply for the permit, and the Bureau of Criminal Identification that administers it then has to determine whether you qualify or not. They've got up to 60 days to do that. If they can't find anything wrong, then they have to issue it. Okay? Constitutional carry simply says, if you're a law-abiding citizen, you shouldn't have to get a permit just to cover it up. A permit in itself is not a permit to use the weapon. It only gives you a couple of abilities right now that you can't do without a permit. One is to conceal it, second is to have it loaded, and a third is to go into schools. Oh, and you can save $7.50 every time you go buy a gun at a dealer. Okay, those are the only 4 things you can get. Okay, so the constitutional carry simply says, we're just going to allow you to cover it up. We're still, because the governor was so hard to work with on this, we said, okay, we're not going to go with the fully loaded. You can have a full magazine in the weapon, but you just can't have a live round in the firing position in the chamber. We thought that was going to do it, and you still had to be 21. Okay, that didn't fly with him. The constitutional carry, which I initially filed back in 2013, and then Representative, what was his name, from Mathis, John Mathis from Vernal, called me and said, "Are you running this bill?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, can I have the bill?" I said, "I don't care who runs it. Let's just get it passed." And so I transferred the bill to him. We got it passed, supermajority in both houses. The governor vetoes it. My biggest angst with this is the fact that we could not get the votes in either house, either the Senate or the House, to do a veto override. As far as I'm concerned, any bill that passes by 2/3 in both houses ought to go to an automatic veto override session. Let the body vote it straight up or straight down. Period. That's the way it ought to be. But this bill is coming back. Representative Lee Perry, who is a highway patrolman, is carrying the bill. He's a firm supporter of the Second Amendment. In fact, 4 years ago, no, it's been a little bit longer than that. It's been about 6 years ago, we passed what it's a form of constitutional carry called car carry. Anyone at the age of 18, if they're not restricted from being around a firearm, may carry a loaded, concealed handgun in their car. Okay? Representative Perry voted against it. He said, "Oh, streets are going to run red in blood." It never happened. Of course, law enforcement always says that, right? But we never had the problem that they've always claimed we're going to have. So Representative Perry said, "I want to run this bill this time." I just heard from Connor that it just got numbered today. So it's out. It's open for everybody to see. Now, there's one thing that we did add to that maybe this might be something that'll help the governor do it. Now, he claims to be business friendly. Hold on just a sec. He claims to be business friendly. State law right now holds private property owners harmless if they knowingly allow a permit holder to bring a gun onto their premises, and if the firearm is discharged, okay, either by accident or intentionally, as long as the property owner didn't request it or assist in the discharge. What we're doing here is adding to that private business premises, because many businesses don't own the property. Okay, so we're adding that. Now that Connor, that section is 53 5A 103.
The bill number for those interested is House Bill 112.
House Bill 112 is the one that just got numbered that Representative Perry's running. You've got a question?
Yeah, what was the objection?
The governor? The governor's objection, I don't know if it was whether he was playing us or whether he just didn't understand, but he kept saying, this is going to do away with the permit. I want everybody trained. I said, well, number one, Governor, training, whether it be the training under about the law of self-defense or training for proficiency, should never be a prerequisite to the right of self-defense. But he thinks everybody should be mandated to be trained. Second thing, he thinks a permit system is going to go away. And I said, that can't happen because of the reciprocity issues. Other states are still going to say, you can't carry in our state unless you've got a permit in your state, as long as they recognize that. Okay? Also, you still can't, because of federal laws, you still can't go into schools. Okay? But they give the states exemptions on making those allowances. That's what we've done. In fact, we're the only state in the last 20 years, up until just recently, that's allowed guns in schools. Have we had those mass shootings? No. Have we come close? Yeah, we have. But I think the reason we haven't had the serious problem is because mass shooters understand. They know where they're going. They know what a gun-free zone is, and they know that a gun-free zone is called what I consider a free kill zone. Look at the Lauderdale airport today. They don't allow guns anywhere on the airport property in Fort Lauderdale. In our airports, you're okay anywhere on the premises except going through the security checkpoint. Once you hit that point, then you're committing a crime. Okay, but we've opened that up. So, we've got some work to do to convince the governor to sign it, and I need all of your help to do that.
If you have concurrent constitutional carry with the permit system in Utah, would that mean different rules for someone who's carrying constitutionally versus permit in terms of schools or other locations?
Yes. The difference in having a permit or not having a permit, again, that allows only certain things that you can do with a permit that you can't do without. One is to have it loaded. That we're still kind of keeping it that way so that the governor can't say, "Oh, you've gone way too far." Okay, we can always address the loaded part later once we can prove to everybody that it's still not a problem. We've already proven that with the car carry. Second thing is just being able to cover it up, but that's the whole point of the bill. The main thing is you still wouldn't be able to go into a school without a permit.
So it's basically open carry, but for sure it's a little lower. Same laws, or same.
Same as it would be if you didn't have a permit and you carried openly, right?
We teach driver's education in schools, why don't we have mandatory or optional firearms education?
It's already allowed. The education community has resisted us. They have stranger danger, playground safety, bus safety, all kinds of different safety programs, but they won't let us teach in schools. Now, the Davis School District's actually been one of the best on that. A good friend of mine who's a former principal of a junior high school actually helped develop a gun safety program. It was very, 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 very well done. But now he's retired, and now we're finding that the schools just won't do it. Now, this past session, we did pass a bill that said it's a test program. It was about, I think it was $75,000 that was allocated for a test program to do some teaching in some 8th grade classes. Well, this education needs to go clear back to grade school. Okay? Kids learn at early ages. I got my first BB gun on my 4th birthday. I'm sorry, 4th Christmas. Okay? I turned 5 to 10 days later. But, in that 10-day period, my dad taught me how to care for the gun, how to load it, unload it, aim, fire, and be totally safe. Always finger off trigger, muzzle direction, know your target, make sure that you treat the weapon as if it's always loaded. Okay, those are the things he always taught. I've never had an accidental discharge, but kids can learn. If you hide it from them, what's that old saying? Curiosity kills the cat. Curiosity becomes very, very dangerous. That's why you see these accidents taking place, because the parents and the education system hides it from the kids.
You saw a video on YouTube that said constitutional carry is safer because the gun's not exposed, that guy can't come grab the gun, and also helps keep it filled, so that guy, someone who's carrying it makes us all safer.
Yeah, the discreet carrying, I don't know that it necessarily makes everybody any safer, but I like the element of surprise. I don't want to have my gun showing if I'm in a convenience store or something, and the robber comes in and says, "Ooh, he's the first one I've got to take out." Okay. Yeah, and so this way, I've got the element of surprise on the assailant. The other thing is that just carrying it open doesn't. It makes the public fearful. Our society today has been, no offense, ladies, extremely feminized, to where everything should be feared. And so if somebody sees a gun, well, he must be a bad guy, automatically. Well, guess what? The bad guys don't carry it open. Every one of them conceals it, and we don't require them to have a permit, do we? Okay, so yeah, it's. I'm going to need all your help to convince the governor. I need you to call his office and say, "Governor, you need to sign this." He needs to. I don't care if he decides not to sign it. He can let it go into law without signing it, but he needs to at least let it go into law. Let him know that we're watching him. I've had some really nasty arguments with him. I don't know, like I say, I don't know if it's ignorance or what, but he just doesn't want to. I think he's pandering to the left a little bit.
The bill number?
No, what's the title?
The title is Firearms Amendments.
Okay, Firearms Amendments. Okay.
HB House Bill
112.
Last question? Okay.
What are the top benefits just that you think will be most effective in benefits?
I think getting the public to come to the committee meetings and in full support, don't come in there with rifles and all this kind of stuff. All that defeats the purpose, okay? All that does is get everybody angry, okay? But, you know, come in there, if you've got a permit, you're welcome to carry in the Capitol. Even without a permit, you can carry it open. It's not illegal. It might cause a little consternation, but come and talk at the committees in support. Talk to your legislators. Utah County is not a problem. Virtually everybody down here will vote for it. Okay, Salt Lake County is probably about 40% maybe. Okay, rural Utah probably about 99%. And Davis County's been 100% for it, so we've been pretty good. Anything north of Salt Lake City's been really good. But talk to your legislators. It doesn't even have to be your particular legislator. Talk to any legislator that you come in contact with. Call them. Let them know. And they're not going to know if you're their constituent or not. Just say, I'm your constituent, okay?
Well, thank you very much. Let's give Curt a hand for